to something that it absolutely is not. And then talk to us how that about how that has affected us, you know, in our communities and in our homes and in our relationships.
And that's a very good point. And we have to look at, like I said, the first half hour or so, we actually was explaining what love is. And many of the definitions and the scenarios and things that we were giving is not what you consider mainstream or even normal amongst ourselves. This is something that you don't see love in that particular light. So we had to explain to you exactly what is love. And then once we have a better understanding or a better idea of what love is, then it kind of automatically you can start to see what love is not. And what love is not is according to the way that we're operating now. Now, does that mean that everybody has not experienced love? Absolutely not. Everybody has experienced it. And once we experience that love, what happens is it gets intertwined with society standards. It gets intertwined with how the entertainment industry and the mass media tells us what love is. So we get this distorted concept of what love is, and we get confused because it was all good then, but now it's not good now. Or when we do feel something that is love and we don't recognize it as that, we can tend to brush it off and label it something else because that's not the love that I'm used to. Our love is custom fitted. Our love is like custom made. It's like fixing up a car or something. You know, it's just like how we dress ourselves up in labels. We don't like to stand naked. We don't like to stand naked. You know what I'm saying? Stand butt naked in the world as far as putting ourself out there, as emotions out there, and who we are. We like to customize everything, and we like to kind of cater it and tweak it a little bit so it only fit how we assume that it's supposed to be. So if I'm dealing with somebody in a relationship and they want something in a particular way or they want love this particular way, and I'm only able to give it the way that I am created or designed, you know, my love could get rejected because that person doesn't recognize that what I'm doing, who I am, and what I'm being is a form of love because they're looking for it in a particular package, all nice and neat, that custom fits to what they believe that it is. And that's where we get a lot of misconceptions in our community about what love is. It gets twisted and it gets distorted. And instead of recognizing it, what it is and how people are able to get it, we look how we put it out, we're expecting for it to come back the exact same way, even though we're individuals. Even though we're all different, we all have different abilities, we all have different talents and gifts, and we all have a different function in this universe. All this uniqueness that we have, but we still expect somebody to do it just like us. And then we do not grow. Love it won't allow us to grow. If you're not growing, it's not love, because love is all expansive. It's unlimited. It's a source that is unlimited, so it is endless. It is infinite. So if we can't fit into that frame, we can only put love in a certain package, then you know it's not love. And many times in our community or in our relationships, since we're looking for love, and you got to remember, everything in society is backwards. And we're operating backwards. Everything is backwards. So what the mass majority of the masses are promoting as love, if you look at that, I can guarantee you that it's not that. Then you have to say, well, what is the opposite of what's going on? If society is telling us that a love for materialism and that you got to have love for that, or you have to have love for celebrities because they're somebody according to whoever is doing the programming. And we have love for those. We have more love for people we don't know, who don't care about us, than our own people up on our own roof. Or the people that we've grown up for years. We feel as though that we believe in them more than we even believe in ourselves. And many times, since we don't love ourselves, we pretend to love other people outside of ourselves. So if I don't know love and I don't love myself, it's impossible for me to give you love properly. because I don't even love myself. Now, I can tell you that, yeah, I really love myself, even though you might smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, eat junk food and fried food every day, never exercise, but you're going to say that you love yourself. You can't love yourself destroying yourself. You see what I'm saying? It's an oxymoron. That is not love. So it's like, if we don't recognize the activities and the things that we're doing, that's not giving us love. We're not showing love to our own body and our own health. How can you even give that away? You can say because you're manifesting destruction. You're manifesting a self-hate, and that's going to reflect on everybody else. Even though you may be a very kind and giving person, and just because you may be doing them things, I'm not trying to target anybody, you know what I'm saying, call anybody out or make you feel bad about what you're doing. Doesn't mean that that you can't show love, because you are love in a manifestation. So it does come out regardless if you know what it is or not. We just have to kind of hone in on that. Then our communities would stay together more and more. We would have more common unity in our community if there was true love. But the communities are vacated. There's no common ground on it, because there's no love in there. And when there's no love in there, love is the glue. Love is going to hold everything together. And you can see that when things are falling apart, it's like, wow, what is it going on? That doesn't mean that you have to stay stuck in a situation. That's not necessarily the glue. That could be more of an imprisonment or a ball and chain type of deal. Or more, you know what I'm saying? That's not the same as the glue of love. That's totally different. You know what I'm saying? And love will actually allow you to separate yourself from certain people, places, and things that are not conducive to you giving love. I hope I was answering your question here.
No, that absolutely. We've already had a conversation or two, about this over the past few days or whatever. But what I wanted to add on to that is that for Black people, for African people specifically, we are afraid to love because we think that vulnerability is a bad word. And the only way that you can experience love, the only way you can experience anything, is to be open to the experience. You can go into, I can walk into a jazz club or a nightclub or whatever, where they have a nice jazz band playing, or maybe some other type of live music that I really dig. And if I'm in a foul mood, I will not experience the vibe that's going on. As a matter of fact, the vibe will offend me because I am not vulnerable to it. And all vulnerability is, all the word vulnerable means is that you are affected by something. You are willing to allow yourself to be affected by it. And vulnerability is not weakness. As a matter of fact, vulnerability is strength. Because when I open myself and I allow myself to fully experience the love of a man, or the love of the universe, or the love of God, or the love of Dion, because, you hit it so hard when you talked about how we really don't love ourselves. We want to give our love away to everybody else except us, because we really don't think we deserve the gift of us. And, vulnerability just means that you are taking the softest part of you, the most easily affected part of you, and you are willingly, consciously exposing it. And, okay, it's a risk. We talked about that in the last conversation, that everything is a risk. Safety is an illusion. So there's no safety in love. There's no certainty that the person you love is going to love you back. We live in the dimension of polarities. So with love comes heartbreak. With vulnerability comes heartbreak. That's just the way that it is. But the heart is such an amazing entity, because it heals itself as it keeps beating. Your heart heals yourself as it keeps beating, so you don't have to be afraid of getting your heart broken. When you understand that your emotions are simply the lights and the signals on the dashboard of the car of your life, And all your emotions are there to do is to let you know, A, when everything is going well, when your tires have enough pressure in them, the engine's running fine, everything's running fine, there are no emotional flare-ups. But let somebody break your heart, your engine light's going to come on. Let somebody, stab you in the back, your tire pressure gauge is going to come on. Those are your emotions letting you know, hey, you need to pull over to the side of the road, lift up the hood, examine your life, see what's going on, and recalibrate. Maybe you need to get hauled off to the shop, whatever it is. Get it fixed. Once it's fixed, then you can get back on the road. And that's what self-love does. Self-love allows you to pay attention to the signals and to the emotions. And we get emotionalism confused with love.
Exactly.
You can have strong emotions about someone and a strong affection and affinity for someone. That does not mean that that's the person that you need to be in a relationship with. Or you feel love toward them. That don't mean that that's your life mate, soulmate, twin flame. It just means that that's somebody that you are, connected with. And so I like to think of love more as a connecting energy than as a an actual. I don't know. It's we have this idea of love. You understand what I'm saying? It's like
I'll follow you.
You know what I'm saying? We got this thing that love is X, Y, Z. Love has to be this. Love has to be that. But the one thing that we forget that love is that love is energy. Love is pure energy, and we have to learn how to connect to that, and we have to remember that it's okay to be open, because that's really the only way you can experience anything.
Exactly. Absolutely.
That's the only way you can experience anything, is to be vulnerable to it, to be open to it. We are talking tonight here on Mental Intercourse. We are talking about love. We are talking about energy, what it is, what it isn't, how to make it work for you, how to manifest it in your own life, how to, yield to it when it comes. I got my co-host, Mr. Sapiosexual, on the line tonight. He is breaking it down as usual. As usual, if you are listening online, feel free to join us in the chat room. And you can also give us a call at 347-850-1062. Talk to us a little bit, if you don't mind, about why we have such a difficult time embracing the love energy in the Black community. Why do we find it easier to fall into aggression than to fall in love?
And the reason being for that is generational. It's generational, and when we're looking and when we're trying to dissect anything, or we're looking for solutions, we first have to identify the root cause of a particular problem. And most of the time, we'll start at the surface level, and that may be with the last relationship, or over the last 10 or 20 years, we may just kind of examine it from there. But remember, everything starts from self, from within self. So there has to be something within ourselves that perpetuates that, and perpetuates more one than the other. Now, love does overcome all the time. It does overcome all the time, so that's why there's all these other devices out there to try to counteract the love that is naturally going to manifest. It's naturally going to manifest because it's always been here. And us, as far as the people, or as far as a community, when we've been trained and programmed through generations far as fear, as far as a self-hate mechanism. You know what I'm saying? Man, what they've done, they've taken what is naturally, what we're talking about tonight is love, they've taken that natural essence of it, and since you cannot eradicate that, you can't do it. It's impossible to do it. to operate outside of that. So what it is, they have to implement over time. Other things will implement into it and try to cancel it out or mask it or overwhelm it that it doesn't get a chance to smothers it out where it doesn't get a chance to breathe. Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about a long history of fear mongering or inducing fear that is breeded from generation to generation, we start to operate and think and feel fear in everything that we do. Because I give you a great example, and I do this from time to time, and I catch myself doing it. We will think of something that is a beautiful thing. We'll think of something that's real beautiful. It could be a great idea. You can have a thought about somebody you just seen and met, and you can be like, he or she looking real good. I would love to get with that. And before you can even pursue it, there's something that'll pop up in your mind, and you will find fault in it automatically. And it prevents us from operating off, because that feeling that we saw when I saw that woman and I was like, yeah, I'm digging her. That's automatic. That's a natural instinct. That's a natural instinct. So since that's natural, but the synthetic programming will pop up and detour that natural instinct. So many times I won't follow my first mind. I'm following my second mind, which is a implanted version of somebody else's program. It's not mine. It's not of the universe. So we automatically operate. We started operating in fear. We started operating in self-hate. So when it's time for somebody to show love, or when it's time, now we do show love. Now, I want to get this very clear. Just because we have all this going on does not mean that we have not ever loved or show love. That's just because we are loved. So it's impossible for us not to do that. We just don't recognize when we do it. So it's like I want people to see when they're operating in it and give you scenarios about when it's happening and when it's not happening. And as us as a people, we have operated in self-hate and in fear for so long, and then when we did love each other at one time, we got punished for it. We got punished for it. You know, and so after so long, you're getting whipped, and the pain becomes unbearable. So now we say that love is pain. You know what I'm saying? That's where it comes from. We say love is pain. No, it ain't pain. People inflicted pain on us because we loved. And now we've been hardwired in our minds that love is pain, not realizing the source of the pain was never love. It was somebody else not wanting us to show love. They didn't want me to save my sister and my brothers. Or when we had to go, when we fought our ways before he came over to these shores, and we were having these riots and things like that. You know, the Nat Turner state of mind. That was love. That revolution was love. That was love for freedom. That was love saying that I am a human being, I am a man, and no, you're not going to do it. That was love. And then everybody else who joined into that rebellion, that was a unification of love. And we got punished for showing that love to each other, to ourselves, to our community, to our culture, to our gods. We got punished for that. And so eventually what they did is they breeded it up out of us. Well, they attempted to. Like they said, they can't do it. They just can kind of shift everything around. So now here we are. We stand today with synthetic views, with the GMO love seed that we have planted within us. And we're operating off of that GMO, not knowing that the earth, that we are nature, we are earth, we are one, we are universe. That automatically is everything that we need to know. So when you are, as you said, I want to touch back on what you were saying about the polarity of it. You know what I'm saying? If you guys do not understand the law of polarity, I strongly suggest that you look at the 7 universal laws, or the Hermetic laws. You may see them either way, and they will tell you exactly the laws in which we operate by, not these man-made laws, not these religious man-made laws, and all that other stuff. The 7 universal laws that everything succumbs to. These are the highest laws. Everything else falls up under that. And the law of polarity basically is everything is pretty much the same, just has the 2 poles, and everything is measured in degrees. It's not like all good or all bad. It's different degrees of what we would call good or what we would call bad, which are just more labels. Anyway, it's all one and the same. But yeah, as a community, we've been fighting to get that love back, and this is why. And I always use social networking because that's where most of our people are at. We've been flooded with social networking. This is why a particular page will get hated on for promoting self-love for their people, and people won't support that. They won't support a grassroots organization that is designed to help and combat the very things that are hurting us. It won't get the support. But Miss Baby Girl, Cupcake Stripper, she paid in full. We'll support that. We'll support that. We'll support the club and the $7, $10 drinks. We'll even support Lil Black down the street because, he give me the 2 for $5 for my blunts. We'll support that. But we won't support the very things that's going to uplift us because why? We're looking for a quick feel-good fix. We feel like junkies. We're a microwave society. We want what we want it now. And we don't realize that it's a process. Community is a process. That's why when we get into relationships or we get into nation building, it's only short-lived because we have not learned that this is a process. We only look at it from a selfish vantage point, like, well, if we're doing this now and we're expecting to reap benefits, but it's not about us reaping the benefits, it's about our children's children reaping the benefits of what we do today. That's love. That's nation building. Love is a process. It's like Big Mama in the kitchen cooking Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving dinner. You know what I'm saying? That's where the term that soul food come in. You know what I'm saying? That was love. That was love when the family came together. She's cooking. We have little children standing over on their little stools, snapping beans. And you know what I'm saying? That love was prepared. So when you sat down and ate, it didn't have shit to do with the holiday. It was a unification of love. So when then that was the manifest. And like I say, that dinner didn't pop up overnight, like going down the street and go get a box dinner from somebody else. It took days to prepare. It took weeks, months to prepare for people to travel to this city, take time off of work. You know what I'm saying? This is all a process of love. So all that hard work that was put in there, all that planning that was put into that Thanksgiving dinner, and us being there at Big Mama house, us being there and making it there despite all the obstacles, jobs didn't want to let us off, kids didn't got sick, car done broke down, didn't have the finance, but when we made it there, we put that work in. That was a manifestation of love. That was a process, and everybody was involved in that process. The ultimate goal was to sit down at that table and enjoy each other's company and enjoy the food. That was the goal. I don't care how you get there, but we should have one destination in mind. And once you reach that destination, you'll realize that all my work put in, I'm finally reaping the benefits of it. And we have gotten out that warrior state of mind or that warrior spirit in order to show that love. And that is why our community is in where we are today. We have lost. We haven't rekindled it. We haven't lost anything. I need to stop saying that. We haven't lost anything. We just need to rediscover it because it's still here. So as a community, as African descended people, we have lost the love for our culture because we never known it. We've never known what love is. So and it's like the culture is the glue to everything. It gives you your rules and your regulations that tell you to take care of each other and operate in this form of fashion. That's all that culture does. You look at any city USA where you're at today, you're going to see a Chinatown, you're going to see Asians, you're going to see Mexicans over here, you're going to see an Italian community. You're going to see these communities. And people are always asking, man, why we can't do that? Why everybody else doing that? It's real simple. It's not hard. They have a culture, meaning they have a tradition that is theirs that stems back from many centuries and many generations, and they follow this blueprint. And within that blueprint, you got people, you got individuals who go crazy, who don't conform to it, or who want to just go renegade. I mean, that's with any and everybody. But for the mass majority, that culture, that love for that culture and their own traditions, not these American traditions that we're calling our own traditions. These are not our traditions.
Mm-hmm.
You have that culture in place. That culture tells you that this is how we survive. This is how we treat each other. It's when you go to the military and when you go to college, no matter where you go, when you see somebody else that is of your culture, you assist them. You don't exclude anybody. You come back, and even if you leave and you come back home, I go to college, and I come back, and I got a doctorate degree, and I become a doctor. What I do is, when I open up my practice, I come back home and open up my practice. So my people can get the proper attention that they need. Because why? Because I was raised in this culture. That culture tells me that this is our issue. So I can treat you better when I already know who you are. And I already know your background. So now we're going to doctors who don't acknowledge our uniqueness. And they're treating us as if they're treating their own, and we have two different dynamics of who we are. So we have to get back into understanding why love is so important. Because once we can get back to the simplicity of it, because we're complicated people, we get back to the simplicity of it, it becomes so much easier. We don't get infatuated so easily, or just over the smallest little things. And love is more than just, it's one way. It's so many manifestations of it. So many manifestations.
We are talking tonight with my co-host, Mr. Sapiosexual. This is Miss Buttafly. We are here on Mental Intercourse. We are talking about love. We are talking about love in some ways that are different and unique and unusual. Not necessarily talking about, love the way that we've been raised to understand it, but talking about love as being the driving force behind community, love being the driving force behind self-preservation, and love being the driving force behind creation and manifestation. We are going to turn our attention now to some more music. This is What You Won't Do for Love by Bobby Caldwell, the old school jam. Enjoy.
To find a love within. I came back to let you know, got a thing for you, and I can't let go. My friends wonder what is wrong with me. Well, I'm in a daze from your love, you see. What you won't do would